Okay, and let's see. Welcome to Exeter, New Hampshire, and this is the home of the Seacoast Spartans, and you're watching live, or just about to be live, the New England Regional featuring the New Hampshire Cyclones against Mid-Fairfield Junior Rangers 2010, and this is the second game of the weekend. And you're just about to see the introductions. So Colin Carey, Ian Hurl, let's see, Sawyer O'Neill, Reese Johnston, LeConte, and Chris Faich is starting in net. And just a quick couple of notes. I apologize for the headset is broken. Whoa! The headset is broken, and also where we have the camera positioned is going to be tough. So we will try to bring as much of the action to you as possible. And parents, if you can comment at home if the video and audio is coming through, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. We're going to do the national anthem right now.
Want tape?
If somebody had tape, that would be helpful.
Boys, can anybody get any kind of tape? Any kind of tape?
Like duct tape or black tape or even clear.
Anything.
Our headset, the headset broke. Yeah. All right, folks, and here we go. So we're gonna have the opening puck drop. Colin Carey with the win back to O'Neill, and O'Neill dumps in. It's fielded by the Cyclones goalkeeper, swung around. Cyclones just try to throw it out of the zone, but an errant shot over the plexiglass is gonna push the face off back in the Cyclone zone. So Carey back at center. Carey, the face-off win, but got by O'Neill, was forced to retreat into the mid-Fairfield zone. O'Neill taps the puck up, good passing by mid-Fairfield. LeConte is able to dump it in. Carey gives chase. Carey pushes it to the opposite corner, but only Cyclone players are there. Kept in by mid-Fairfield. Hurl keeps it in. Puck whistles around. Back and forth it goes. Ware on the forecheck. It's thrown out. Hurl wants to wind up, but then the Cyclones come up with the errant shot. O'Neill dumps it off to the opposite corner. Mid-Fairfield goes for a shift change. Cyclones moving the puck around well here. Kept out of the zone. Scranton battling along with Lopiano. Lopiano comes up with it and is knocked off the puck. Cyclones gain the zone. Oh, monster hit by Fuji. Sorry, and you're going to be in your way there. Sorry, we're just working out the logistics. Oh, the Cyclones back up with it, and Faich pounces on the loose puck. Yeah. Sorry, folks, we're trying to get the logistics worked out here. So I'm going to be doing a lot of standing. So Malefus. All right, I'm going to take a short break to fix this headset. I'll be right back with you folks. So see what happened is, let's see if I can get this thing. Wait, let me get it in here first before I don't know what happened. You know what, let's just go with that.
I got a whole bunch of tape here, so.
Okay.
You want to do it again?
Yeah, that's much better already. Yeah.
One more, I think we're good.
Okay. Chris, thank you.
You got it.
All right, folks, and I'm back at it. And thank you to Chris Shunk for the assist. Our headphones snapped in half, and Chris was Johnny on the spot with some clear tape to repair it. So nothing happened really while we were gone, but now a blocked shot by the Cyclones. Swung to the other side, O'Neill up with it. O'Neill gets across center ice, dumps in. Beck and Vartanian give chase. Beck up with the puck behind the net, trying to feed someone up front. Nobody home. Puck pinned along the corner. With Fairfield in control of the puck. Tries to feed it to Beck, to Correa. Correa with a shot on net. And there's going to be a penalty, I believe, on Cullen Correa for interference there. So, Mid-Fairfield's going to go on its first penalty kill of the day. You have Malefus out there with Scranton, Pearl, and O'Neill. Won by Mid-Fairfield and slung the length of the ice. The Cyclones player demonstrating some real speed there, gains the zone but loses the handle. Very quick defenseman. Moving the puck well out in front. And Fainch is able to pin it under his pad. Keep an eye on that defenseman from the Cyclones. Speedy defenseman, number 26. So the coach changes out. It's got Scranton at center. Boudry able to force the puck out of the zone. Malefus gives chase. You also have DeRoberts out there as well as your penalty killers. Johnston gets a stick in the way. Still battling for possession. Oh, and here we go. DeRoberts has got Johnston in tow. Johnston now up with the puck. Back to DeRoberts. No, unable to get it there. All right, we're going to have a stoppage in play here. 12:57 left. All right, so we've got LeConte out there with Johnston, Boudry, and Picaro out on D. Win by New Hampshire. So Boudry now behind Faitch, but only New Hampshire players are there. Out to the blue line, swung around to Colt, shot, whiffed on the shot. Johnston able to sweep it away with good stick work there. 35 seconds left in the penalty to Correa. Oh, good hit by DeRoberts there. Causes the turnover, but stolen by the Cyclones. And a long pass and a shot on the Cyclones goalkeeper. It's going to stop play here, 11 seconds. So Mid-Fairfield so far have their hitting shoes on. A couple of good sticks. But we remain scoreless here. We've got Ware and Shunk out there with Picaro and Lopiano. And the puck goes wildly down the boards. Shunk gives chase. Tapped out. The Cyclones back up with it. Fielded by Figurino over to Ware, over to Lopiano. Lopiano winds up, shot, rebound off the goalkeeper, but nobody there from mid-Fairfield. Long pass over to Shunk, who leaves it for Coccaro. Coccaro feeds his winger, Ware, and dumps it into the New Hampshire zone. Figurino with a forecheck along with Ware. Shunk able to dump it back in, still battling, out in front in the slot. Pan now has joined the fray. Puck out to Pan. Pan twirls around, decides to dump it off to Coccaro. Coccaro's still battling. And the puck thrown out. Figurino decides to dump in. Coccaro fields the puck off the glass. A little too strong, and New Hampshire back up with it. Coccaro now, hounded by a couple of New Hampshire players. And it's thrown out. Malefis doesn't see it, but avoids the big collision at center ice. Swept aside, Coccaro trying to pick it back up. It's hammered into the boards. And the puck finally escapes the zone. We're gonna have a penalty here on a trip. And I believe it's on mid-Fairfield again. So Pan is gonna head to the box. So mid-Fairfield right now, 2 penalties so far in the first period. 10:08 left in the first. We've got Lopiano, O'Neill, Hurl, and Correa out there. Fielded by New Hampshire. They're gonna have a shot. Oh, looked like they were setting up a shot in the slot. Oh, Lopiano with a beautiful play. Kicks the puck out to his stick. Lopiano with a breakaway. Lopiano with a shot. Nice save by the New Hampshire goalkeeper. But that was all Christian Lopiano. Beautiful play at his own blue line. But New Hampshire races back the other way. Tries to split the defenseman. And the Cyclones player crashes into the net. Fate managed to avoid him. So some up and down action here. 9:35 left in the first period. Still scoreless. 1:28 left in the penalty to Pan. LeConte with the win. O'Neill slings it to the other side over to Scranton. Scranton with a full head of steam tries to hit LeConte in stride. LeConte crashes behind the net, kicks the puck to the other side, but only New Hampshire players are there. Mid-Fairfield's gonna have to fly back. And an over-eager New Hampshire player is gonna cause an offside. So definitely some speed on this team. They can move the puck on the Cyclones' end. 1:07 left in the penalty still. Tied up at the blue line. Scranton emerges with the puck. Scranton across the blue line, gets around the defenseman, shot, but unable to hit the net cleanly. So mid-Fairfield, a couple of chances here. And out here, Malefis retreats into his own zone, trying to burn time, but he's hounded. It's to Roberts by a couple of players and stolen finally by New Hampshire. Shoveled out to Malefis. Here comes Malefis turning on the Jets across center ice, but loses the handle. The blue line, here comes New Hampshire. Puck is blocked by a mid-Fairfield player high up into the air and out of the zone. New Hampshire looks to reload, just flying by players. Pad save by Fage. Penalties expired, but shot deflects off a stick up into the air. DeRoberts gets a stick on it, pokes it out of the zone. Oh, looked like Johnson was going to have an opportunity there, but just couldn't get his skates down quick enough. New Hampshire slides it to the opposite side. Shunk up with it, dumps it in. Shunk back up with the puck, winds up, shot. Padded to the side. Pan now up with it. Back over to Johnston, shot, misses the net. Coccaro pinches in, dumps the puck back into the corner. Nice skating by mid-Fairfield with Malefis. The puck was secured by the goalkeeper, I think, but then it dropped down to the ice. So, Malefis with an off-angled shot. Still scoreless here, 7:28, but mid-Fairfield has managed to kill off a couple of penalties. Coccaro with a long shot, and it's in! So I can't tell, Coccaro with a long shot, but it definitely deflected off of somebody. And yeah, I believe Cullen Correa is going to get credit for that. Coccaro threw up a floater, and Correa must have gotten a stick on it. So mid-Fairfield putting the pucks on the net and goes up 1-0. Correa has been on a tear lately with the offense. A hat trick against Yale, and now a goal against New Hampshire. Coccaro immediately hounded. Ware up with it, over to Coccaro, over to Lopiano, back to Coccaro. Out in front is Correa with another shot. Cullen Correa is feeling it right now. So mid-Fairfield with a couple of really good scoring opportunities against the Cyclones. Killed off a couple of penalties and are up 1-0 on a goal by Correa. So you've got Scranton out there with LeConte. Pearl and O'Neill as your defenseman. So it's going to be delayed offside. Fairfield races in though to contest. Figurino now out there. O'Neill winds up. Little too wide. Give and go passing by mid-Fairfield. And it's thrown down the length of the ice. And Faich lets it go to an icing. And 6:25 left in the first period. Mid-Fairfield up by 1. Second game of the New England region. All the teams here are fighting for the chance to represent their region in the national championship in March out in Michigan. So win by mid-Fairfield. O'Neill dumps in. But here comes New Hampshire back out with the puck. Shot. And sticked aside by Faich, and it actually bounced off the netting, and he turned around and fielded it. But that was out. So we've got Scranton out there with LeConte and Figurino. Pearl and O'Neill still on D. Pearl races back, taps the puck over to LeConte. LeConte off the glass to Figurino. Figurino's hammered along the glass, but the puck keeps going. Figurino now back up with the puck. Slides it along, but too strong. Tries to get it to a New Hampshire player, and Hurl dumps it in. Puck races into the mid-Fairfield zone. Hurl there, he's tied up, along with Johnston. Hurl puts a stick in there and gets the puck to Scranton. Slides it up to Pan. Pan racing now for the boards. Pan able to get the puck up over to O'Neill, taps it over to Boudry, who dumps it in. Sorry, folks, we had a change in cameraman. Puck thrown out. Here comes mid-Fairfield racing back. Good job by DeRoberts getting back there in time. Fielded by DeRoberts. Left for Johnston. Johnston trying to get by the defenseman, leaves the puck for New Hampshire, but puck ticked off of Beck's stick. New Hampshire back up with it, but blocked by Boudry. Boudry over to DeRoberts. New Hampshire doing a good job keeping it in the mid-Fairfield zone. Boudry now up with it. Pan now loses the handle, but mid-Fairfield gains control. DeRoberts up with it. Long shot actually on the New Hampshire goal. I think he was trying to hit Beck off on the wing, but just misfired. And here comes New Hampshire into the zone. Oh, nice play by DeRoberts, but New Hampshire back up with it. Oh, massive hit by Correa again. Cullen Correa making his presence known so far in this game. And it's turned over in the neutral zone. Shunk back up with it over to Coccaro. Coccaro niftily gets it out, but New Hampshire now back. They're going to gain the zone. Toe drag. And I believe it got a part of Shunk's stick. Ware now up with it, slides it over to Lopiano, chops at it, but fielded by New Hampshire and thrown back out of the zone again. So both teams turning it over quite a bit in the neutral zone. Dumped into the mid-Fairfield corner, Shunk gives chase. And now Ware up with a puck. Coccaro now across the blue line, passes it over to LeConte out in front. Back to Coccaro, just a little too strong. Scranton now races back. This New Hampshire team is tenacious on the puck so far. Scranton now tries to split the defenseman, but loses the handle. LeConte dumps it in to Scranton. Out in front is Vartanian, but a nice save by the Cyclones goalkeeper. Was Yanni having an equipment issue? Okay. Oh, okay.
That's what I think.
Okay. So Yanni Malafis was out for a little bit. I think it's nothing serious, I hope, but...
Oh, well, that I thought you meant.
Oh, so here's Nick's coming back, sorry. So shot out in front, loose, still battling for possession off to the opposite corner. We're gonna have a stoppage in play here. There's gonna be a slashing call on Cullen Correa, who's pleading his case to the ref. So mid-Fairfield's gonna go on its third penalty kill. Second by Correa, the first period of slash.
Wait until 1:40.
So Scranton up front with O'Neill, Pearl, and Malafis out to the Cyclone, or to mid-Fairfield. Blue line tipped, but a little wide. Passing it around. A little wide of the net. Hurl races over, chips the puck out. Oh, he's trying to get it to Malefus. Just couldn't get it on the right side. Malefus contesting along with Scranton. New Hampshire's going to have some numbers here, but they've got to wait. Puck tipped off. Hurl fields it, throws it off the glass, but kept in. Oh, beautiful play. I believe that was Ian Hurl must have gotten a stick on it. They had a shot right in the slot on Faich, and I believe Hurl must have gotten a stick on it. The mid-Fairfield player's down right now. He's getting back up. And it looks like Kai Scranton is down, but he looks to be okay. So mid-Fairfield playing with fire there. 1:02 left in the period. There was a shot right in the slot on Faich, but I do believe Ian Hurl must have gotten a stick on it because it fluttered up into the air. Graggs wants to know why there was no call on this hit to Scranton. So your penalty killers, Boudry, Johnston, LeConte, and DeRoberts out there. When Boudry comes up with it high up off the glass and manages to get it out. Good play by Boudry getting that out there. LeConte is a forechecker. Oh, and New Hampshire now, that's going to be a costly icing. The player was almost on his blue line and just threw the puck up against the glass. So 48 seconds left. Johnston at the center position. And again, thrown the length of the ice. Boy, that's 2 times in a row New Hampshire has cost themselves. So Johnston again at the center. So when Boudry comes up, shot, patted off the side. Oh, looked like LeConte was going to have a chance there. Now Johnston races in for the forecheck. Johnston now pins it, leaves it out in front for LeConte. Shot, and deflects off one of the players. Puck goes wildly to the opposite side, but now New Hampshire trying to break it out. But good job by LeConte. Seven seconds left in the period. All right, and folks, just remember, we're gonna have a break here because they do ice cuts in between every period. So there's about a 10-minute break or so. So we'll bring you back to the action. Mid-Fairfield up 1-0. Thanks, Chris.
Oh, yeah. Is the score on there 1-0? We got to do the score, right?
Yeah, we'll do that. So let me shut this sound off. All right, and welcome back, folks, to the second period. We're gonna have the puck drop in a second. Here we go, over to Caccaro. Caccaro throws it the length of the ice. Still 9 seconds left on the penalty to Correa. Malefus steals, tries to dump it back in, but New Hampshire back up with it across the mid-Fairfield blue line. Shot! Pad save, another shot, wide. Forgot I can't sit down here. So that's going to kill off the penalty to Correa. Another shot, sticked aside by Feach. Shunk shovels it over to the opposite corner. Tries to get it out. New Hampshire, good job keeping the puck in. 16:23 left in the second period. Malefus at center. New Hampshire keeps the puck in. Correa now battling along the boards. The puck skips out. Fairfield dumps it back in. Puck behind the net. Cullen Correa is going to head off. Cullen's got to be careful. That's his third penalty already. You're going to have LeConte, Figurino, Ware out there up front with O'Neill and Hurl manning the blue line. Figurino at center. They won by New Hampshire, and they're breaking it out quickly. But nice play by mid-Fairfield to deny entry. Here comes Figurino back into the New Hampshire zone. He's hounded by a couple of New Hampshire players, but kept alive. Shot by Figurino that's blocked by one of the New Hampshire players. O'Neill races back, dumps it off to Ware. Ware over to Figurino, back over to LeConte. LeConte circles around, up to O'Neill. O'Neill winds up, shot. It's deflected off by the goalkeeper. Kept in by O'Neill temporarily, but here we're gonna have a breakaway by New Hampshire and in by Feach. So a costly turnover by mid-Fairfield at center ice. Feach is unable to come up with the save. So we're tied here at 1. Malefus at center. Right now, New Hampshire giving mid-Fairfield everything they can handle. Lopiano up with it, tries to hit a streaking Scranton, but that's going to be an icing call. You can tell Chris is annoyed by that. Feels he probably should have had the puck. Chris is usually really good on breakaways, but credit to New Hampshire player, able to beat Feach and tie up the score here. Players are tied up. New Hampshire comes out with it. Shot, blocked. Malefus feeds low piano, hits the brakes. Oh, shot by Scranton. Scranton back up with it, over to low piano, shot off the pads. Good angle by Kai Scranton, keeping that puck alive. Low piano's trying to feed Malefus. To low piano, back to Scranton. Scranton out in the crease. Wow, what a shot by Kai Scranton. Weaves his way around two players and just hammers the puck over the shoulder of the New Hampshire goalkeeper. So Kai Scranton answering right away. So mid-Fairfield up 2-1. I know Dad will be happy about that one at home. Figurino, because he definitely hit the net there, Dad. Puck shoveled over to Kakaro. Puts it back to Shunk. Over to Johnston. Feeds LeConte that dumps it in. LeConte now behind the net. Tries to get it up front. Figurino races down. Back to his defenseman, Shunk, shot. Deflected, Johnston back up with it. Back over to Shunk, winds up, shot, misses the net. Shunk pinches in, another shot blocked and out of the zone. Kakaro picks up the loose change. Over to Johnston, back to Shunk. Over to Kakaro, leaves it for Figurino. Just wild passing back and forth and thrown out of the zone. So we're gonna have another icing call here. Sorry. New Hampshire back up with the puck. Throws it out of the zone. We've got mid-Fairfield's got to head back. Saved by Finch. New Hampshire's got some speed here, and they're showing that on their forwards. Out in front of Finch, pad save. And we're going to have a penalty behind the whistle, or behind the play. I believe it's on mid-Fairfield again. So Sawyer O'Neill is going to head to the box. So Boudry, DeRoberts, Malefus, and Scranton are going to be your penalty killers. Mid-Fairfield up 2-1. Went ahead on a Kai Scranton goal. And the puck skips out of the zone. Malefus with a forecheck, forcing the goalie to field it. Malefus all over the New Hampshire players. And mid-Fairfield forces them back in their own zone. Oh, Malefus almost with a shot there. Comes up with the puck, leaves it out front to Scranton. Boudry now up with it. Chips it to the opposite side. Malefus is a one-man wrecking crew on this penalty kill. Malefus forces them back into their own zone again. Finally into the mid-Fairfield zone and thrown back out again. Lopiano's out there with Correa. Win by mid-Fairfield. Coccaro races back, throws it out, but New Hampshire keeps it in the zone. At the top of the key, shot! Misses the net. And here comes mid-Fairfield, shovels it to center ice. Here comes Lopiano, tries to split the defenseman and causes a penalty on New Hampshire. And Christian Lopiano, he's got hands. He'll do that to you. Forcing the Cyclones players, defensemen, to haul him down. So 46 seconds left on the penalty. Is going to be erased. Teams will skate 4 aside. You got Correa, Lopiano, Shunk, and Coccaro out there. Lopiano right behind Correa. Coccaro able to dump it back in for Correa. Correa gives chase, dumps it out to his defenseman Shunk, slides it over to Coccaro. Coccaro dumps it into the opposite corner. Only New Hampshire players there. And another icing call. That's the 3rd time New Hampshire's done that. It's caused them. In a non-pressure situation to just throw the puck up like that. So coach changing the group out slightly. He's got Malefus out there at Scranton. Lopiano and Coccaro skating 4 aside. Oh, win by New Hampshire. Malefus thought he had him beat. And the New Hampshire player, again, throws the puck up into his own bench. So these unforced errors costing New Hampshire, definitely a speedy team, but these unforced errors have cost them. Malefus back at center. With a win, Coccaro has to race back to collect the puck. Coccaro tries to get it over to Scranton and does. Now over to Malefus. Malefus gains the zone, gets by the defenseman, but loses the handle on the puck. Malefus still up with it, looks to get set up. Mid-Fairfield now on a power play here. Scranton up with it. Over to LeConte. Over to Hurl, to Coccaro. Back to Malefus. Malefus hounded. Still a battle is Reese Johnston. Malefus now back up with it, but he's got 2 players all over him. Johnston's trying to help him out. Credit New Hampshire. Good job by New Hampshire killing time here. And finally, Hurl up with it. Hurl with a shot that's blocked by a New Hampshire player. And swept aside by LeConte, who feeds Malefus. Malefus out the clear shot, saved by the New Hampshire goalkeeper. Beautiful save by New Hampshire there. Malefus undeterred, shot misses the net. Here comes Johnson back up with it, puts a shot right on the New Hampshire goalkeeper, who's able to stomach it. So New Hampshire with a couple of Mid-Fairfield with a couple of golden scoring chances, but unable to come away with the goal. So 7 seconds left in the penalty to New Hampshire. Correa front with Figurino and Ware. Out to Boudry, shot, misses the net, whistles around to Roberts. To Roberts, tries getting the puck to Figurino. Figurino now trying to get a backhand, still battling for possession. Figurino back up with it. Penalties expired out in front. Boudry gets it to Correa, who shovels it over to Figurino. Figurino curls around, leaves it for Boudry. Boudry in the clear, oh, but stick lift. Boudry still battling. Correa now still fighting for position. Ware gets it out to DeRoberts, but loses. Fage has to come out and throw out the puck to DeRoberts. They gain the zone, flip it into the New Hampshire zone. It's to Roberts, who waits for his teammates to get onside. Roberts hits the brakes. It's pinned up along the corner. Roberts still with the puck. Puts it out. Oh, he had Correa there for a second. Back out to Ware, shot on the ice. Roberts with a shot off the goalie. The goalie's able to secure it here. So credit the New Hampshire goalkeeper. He's had to make quite a few key saves to keep Mid-Fairfield off the board, and he has done so far. So we've got Lopiano, pan right off his right shoulder. Vartanian, Pearl, and O'Neill. Thrown to the opposite corner. Hurl keeps it in, taps it back in for Vartanian. Hurl able to keep it in. Oh, nice play by Lopiano. Keeps the puck in the zone. Feeds Pan. Out in front. Oh, right on the post. And we're going to have a stoppage in play here. 7:32 left in the second period. So Vartanian slides it over to Lopiano. Vartanian sticks his nose in there. Gets the puck to Lopiano. Lopiano to Pan. Blocked shot. Lopiano still battling along with Vartanian. Now Pan comes in. Vartanian gets free with the puck. And the New Hampshire player slides it over. Vartanian going at it. Nice job by Paul. But now the puck skips loose. And Hurl and O'Neill unable to keep it in. O'Neill's got to race back, collect the puck. And we're going to have an icing call. So you've got Scranton out there with LeConte and Beck. Shunk and Caccaro out on D. Scranton with a win by New Hampshire, thrown the length of the ice. Oh, and Fates thought it was going to be an icing, but two shots on Chris, and he's able to come up with a save. But the New Hampshire player flying down the ice got there before the icing call could be made. And two shot attempts right away on Fates that he's got to come up with a save on. Win by New Hampshire, thrown out to their defenseman, way wide. LeConte comes up with the puck, gets it over to Scranton. Scranton mishandles it. He's got a reverse course. Back to Shunk, over to LeConte, and that's going to be an icing. Was unable to handle it at the New Hampshire blue line. So Malefus back at center. Win by Mid-Fairfield. Shunk throws it along the glass. Oh, and here comes Malefus racing down. Yanni Malefus, he's shot, blocker saved by Ware, and Ware with a greasy goal. Yanni Malefus racing down the ice, puts a shot on the New Hampshire netminder, but Ware crashing the net and is able to slide it in under the pads. So Mid-Fairfield with a hustle play there goes up 3-1. Boy, and those are the goals that you love to see coming out of Mid-Fairfield. Malefus using the speed to get the shot on net, and then Ware crashing the net. Good things happen. Win by Mid-Fairfield, back to Caccaro. Caccaro slides it over, and Fates just got to make a save. I think Matty didn't get enough on it, or something in the ice prevented it from sliding over. Puck now in the New Hampshire zone. Reese Johnson going at it. So Reese Johnson was going at it with one of the New Hampshire players, and unfortunately, I think Shunk came in as Johnston was on the ice protecting his teammate, but he's going to head to the penalty box. So despite the fact that Mid-Fairfield goes up 3-1, they've got some work to do here. So, win by New Hampshire. DeRoberts now up with the puck, trying to get it out of the zone, kept in by New Hampshire. Still battling along the corner. Oh, nice play by Correa to force the puck out. Here comes Lopiano all by himself, and it's in! Christian Lopiano showing off the hands there and is able to deke the goalie out. And shorthanded, Lopiano pushes Mid-Fairfield's lead up to 4-1. So Correa back at center, swept aside over to DeRoberts. He throws it in the opposite corner. Correa gives chase, along with Lopiano, who steals the puck. Christian Lopiano with a slides it over to Correa with a shot. Lopiano right now is on fire. Lopiano still on the forecheck, and he's going to cause an icing. So Lopiano, with probably his best shift as a Mid-Fairfield player, scoring a goal, causing an icing, just being a general pest out there. And so Mid-Fairfield's cut the penalty in half, 1 minute left to Shunk's penalty. Malefus back at center. Malefus still battling. Scranton helping out Malefus. Malefus with a shot, save off the stick of the goalkeeper. Kept in by Hurl, dumped in behind the net. Malefus still all over the place. Malefus and Scranton with a forecheck. Scranton all over the New Hampshire player. Hurl now turns over the puck at center ice, but there's Scranton for the steal again. Scranton gets by one player, by two, and finally loses the handle. New Hampshire looks up ice and dumps this, and they're going to call an offside on an overeager New Hampshire winger. 12 seconds left, and the penalty to Shunk. Okay, and Mid-Fairfield's able to get the puck out. Figurino with a big hit. And the refs are going to call a hand pass. So LeConte at center. He's got Figurino out there. And DeRoberts and Caccaro as the penalty killers for the next 2 seconds. But the refs can't make up their mind. They're moving the players all over the ice. Finally on the red dot, just beyond the New Hampshire blue line. Vartanian gives chase. Shot by LeConte that's deflected off. New Hampshire back up with it. Across their own blue line. Figurino with a nice job stealing the puck from behind. Gets it to Vartanian. Out in the slot. Shot. It's blocked by the New Hampshire player. Stolen by Figurino. Left for DeRoberts, but then turned over at the blue line. Here comes New Hampshire. Out into the slot. Shot. Too high. Out in front. Another shot that misses the net. New Hampshire now with a couple of scoring chances, saved by Feach off the blocker. Another save with the stick, and here comes DeRoberts now. DeRoberts trying to split the New Hampshire players and just puts a puck on net. LeConte races in, steals the puck, gets it to Johnston, gets it over to Hurl, back to Johnston, and deflects off one of the New Hampshire players. Still battling for possession, and Hurl has to race back across center ice to pick it up. Johnston over to Ware. Ware trying to get by the defenseman to Hurl, yet Hurl right in front, unable to hit the net. Boudry now up with the puck. Over to Ware, back to Boudry. Oh, nice play by Reese Johnson to pick the pocket. And the puck dumped back in. And there's going to be another hand pass on New Hampshire. So Johnson with the win to Boudry. Hurl races over. Shot. Deflects off the skates of one of the New Hampshire players. Puck whistles out. Hurl picks it up. Hurl. Shot. Loose out in front. Boudry comes in. Puck out back to Boudry. Shot way too wide. Hurl back in. Back to Boudry. Boudry thrown down to the ice, and here comes New Hampshire. They're going to have a breakaway on Feach. Feach out. Saved by Chris Feach with the pads. Chris Feach atoning for the earlier breakaway with a beautiful pad save. And here comes mid-Fairfield, but they're going to be whistled for an offside. You could tell Chris was annoyed at the first goal he gave up. I can tell by the head movements of my son, but he was not going to get that one let in this time. Correa at center. And into the New Hampshire zone. 30 seconds left in the second period. Shunk pinches in. Beck now up with the puck over to O'Neill. O'Neill with a shot that's gloved by the New Hampshire netminder. 15 seconds left. So Correa at center. He's got Lopiano just behind him. Lopiano with a shot that's deflected off the side. New Hampshire swats it back out. And the Cyclones, once again, are going to have an icing with 7.8 seconds left. So Correa at center. He's got Beck and Lopiano out there with him. Kept in by O'Neill. Shot misses the net. Shunk races over, shovels the puck into the center, and that's it. So folks, again, we're going to take about a 10-minute break, and then we'll be back at it for the third period. folks, and welcome back to the third period. And just as kind of an aside here, Yale is overplaying against Mount right now, and late in the second period, the score is tied 2-2. So I know Mount has had a lot of shots on the Yale goalie, Trevor, one of Chris's buddies, and so Yale's in that game right now, 2-2 against Mount, late in the second period. So we're all set to bring you the third period. Got Correa at center with Johnston, LeConte up front. Pearl and O'Neill manning the blue line. Win by mid-Fairfield. O'Neill over to Hurls, trying to slide it up to Johnston, but it's immediately contested back over to O'Neill. Skips all the way back down to the New Hampshire goalkeeper. New Hampshire just trying to get things settled down in their own zone. Good forecheck by mid-Fairfield. O'Neill able to beat the pass over there and keep the puck in a little longer. Again, New Hampshire looks to break it out, does high up into the air, high stick. Mid-Fairfield still with a puck on in their possession. Finally, New Hampshire comes up with it, but it's stolen again by mid-Fairfield. Hurl races in, throws a shot on net that's way wide, but Johnston races over to the glass to get there first. And they're going to call an offside on Sawyer O'Neill. Puck skipped off his stick, causing the offside. So coach will change players out here. It's got Malefus out at center. Win by Malefus, trying to split the defenseman. Puck skips back to DeRoberts, who throws it into the corner. Still battling along the glass, mid-Fairfield and the Cyclones. And finally out. DeRoberts slams the puck back into the New Hampshire zone. New Hampshire goalkeeper throws it to the opposite corner. And again, battling for possession along the glass. Boudry hounded, but gets the puck out to Figurino, turns on the Jets, gains the zone. Figurino gets by the defenseman, shot, and it's in! Figurino scoring at 15:06 left in the third period. Mid-Fairfield going up by a score of 5-1 here. So Scranton at center. He's got Ware and Lopiano out there. And the puck skips off into the mid-Fairfield zone. DeRoberts gives chase. Lopiano and Scranton are there, along with a couple of New Hampshire players. Shifty move by Scranton to avoid the hit. Get this puck out of the zone. Here comes Lopiano. Gets by the defenseman, shot, misses the net. Scranton shovels the pass over to DeRoberts, who dumps back in the New Hampshire zone. Scranton races to the corner to contest the puck. New Hampshire's able to push it to the opposite corner. Oh, turned and fired by Boudry. I'm sorry, Scranton. The puck dog-legged right out to Kai Scranton, who puts a shot on net. Goes right into the stomach of the goalkeeper. 14-14 left in the third period. Win by New Hampshire that races out. H is able to make a save, 2 saves. One with the blocker, one with the pad. And the puck's now back in the Cyclone zone. Beck now up with it, throws it out to Coccaro. Coccaro leaves it for Vartanian, dumps it behind to the side of the net. Coccaro back up with it, pinches in, and it's off of a post. Another shot by Shunk, and it's gloved by the goalkeeper. So Coccaro ringing the bell right there, but hitting the post. Shunk up with the puck, sides pinch in, shot, misses the net. Coccaro there to keep the puck in the zone. Coccaro pinned up along the glass. Puck is loose and tapped in. And I think that's Paul Vartanian who's going to get credit for that. Figurino had gotten a shot on net, and Vartanian right up in front, and he's going to get everybody on the bench up. And Paul gets a big smile. He's getting razzed by all his teammates as he gets onto the bench. But good for Paul, crashing the net. He's there to bang it home. So 12:52 left. Malefus at center. Johnston now in control across the blue line. Over to LeConte, behind the net. Johnston back up with it. Tries getting it over to Hurl. They're going to say it's an offside on mid-Fairfield. Hurl was just about a half a step over. So 12:09 left in the third period. So you got Scranton at center. Sorry, and this is a power play for mid-Fairfield. Apologize about that, folks. And the puck skips out of the zone. Fage fields it, leaves it for Coccaro. And here comes Scranton now. Scranton dishes off to Lopiano, gains the zone. Oh, and out of the zone. Malefus has got to wait for everyone to get back on side. Malefus now across center ice, full head of steam. Malefus at the face-off circle, shot misses the net. With Fairfield able to keep it in as Coccaro back up at the point. A couple of times New Hampshire's gone for it. Just barely missed that tip and have a breakaway opportunity. And here it comes. New Hampshire's going to have another breakaway onto Faich. And Faich just was able to ride the player out, and then he lost the handle. But you can see, definitely see what New Hampshire was trying to do there. Oh, they stole it again. Blocker save, but New Hampshire back up with it. Saved by Faich with a kick. So New Hampshire, despite being down 7-1, they are playing. Malefus back up with it. Mishandles the puck, but it's loose out in front, and it's in. And Cullen Correa now has got 2 goals. I was teasing Cullen earlier in the day when I saw him in the hotel. Is he going to get a hat trick today? And he looked at me, said, "Of course I am." So we'll have to see. Cullen's still short 1. We've got 10:13 left to play. Puck skips back into the New Hampshire zone. Johnston with the forecheck. Now New Hampshire looks to break it out. Cross ice pass. Gains the mid-Fairfield zone. Shot. Saved by Faich. So 9:49 left. Ian Hurl was being separated by one of the officials. He had a lot to say to one of the New Hampshire players. Out in front. Oh, saved by Chris Faich! You gotta be kidding me! What a save! A blast from the slot! And Faich somehow comes up with it. Puck and turned over right in front of Chris. And the New Hampshire player slammed the puck right on Chris. And he comes up with just a magnificent save. Now deep into the New Hampshire zone, up into the corner. Kept in. LeConte up with the puck. Leaves it for Figurino. The shot misses the net. Another shot by Hurl. O'Neill fires another shot that's sticked aside. And here comes New Hampshire. And again, I don't understand that. Player had one of his wingers with him, and he just fired it down the length of the ice, causing the icing. 8:49 left. That's about the 5th or 6th time that's happened in New Hampshire in this game. So Malefus back at center. Kept in, shot, blocker to side. Pan working hard along the boards. Boudry now up with it, slides it over to DeRoberts, who dumps it in. Out to Malefus. Malefus with a shot. Nice save by the New Hampshire goalkeeper. Still battling along the glass. Puck comes loose behind the goalkeeper. Shoveled out. And they're going to call that an offside on mid-Fairfield. .804 left in the 3rd period. Mid-Fairfield up 8-1. So it's important in these games to score with how the tournament breaks. So you hate to see blowouts, but it does help the teams. And here comes New Hampshire dumping it back in the zone. DeRoberts gives chase. Boudry now there. Up to Vartanian, who leaves it for Correa. Correa across the blue line. Oh, left it for the wrong player. Thought his team was trailering. Leaves it for Vartanian. Oh, here comes New Hampshire again. Leaves it high up in the air. New Hampshire player unable to get a stick on it. But shot, misses the net. And Vartanian back up with it. Vartanian's got some skating room. Leaves it for Beck. Beck across the blue line to Vartanian. Shot, deflected off to the side. We're gonna have a penalty here. And I believe it, yep, it's gonna be on New Hampshire. So 6:59 left in the third period, and it is a major penalty. So a 5-minute major. I think DeRoberts must have lost a stick, broke it.
I think they kicked the other kid out of the game.
Oh, and Mr. Shunk has just told me that one of the New Hampshire players has been escorted off the ice. The ref's trying to maintain control. There hasn't been too much chirping or late hits or anything. It's been pretty good so far. I don't know what we're waiting for here, but we'll get going shortly, hopefully. So Johnston up front, Figurino, LeConte. Got Hurl and O'Neill on the blue line. And here we go. We got LeConte, slides it over to O'Neill. O'Neill gets around the New Hampshire player, tries to set up LeConte. Now here comes Hurl. Shot, and deflects off the goalie up into the netting. So Johnston with the win, over to Figurino. Slides it back over to LeConte. Back over to Johnston. Back to Hurl. Back to Johnston. Pinches in, shot, blocks. And thrown out the length of the ice. Hurl races back. Oh, the puck turned over and dumped back in. Picaro now back up with it. Johnston loses the handle temporarily, then gains it back, across center ice. Back over to Johnston, shot, misses the net, way wide. With Fairfield trying to get set up, Low Piano with a shot, deflects off the goalkeeper. Malefus now tries to set up one of his teammates in the slot, but unable to do so. And the Cyclones throw it back out. Malefus now up with it. Over to Picaro, who leaves it for Scranton. Scranton with a full head of steam, gains the zone, hits the brakes, slides it over to Malefus. Back over to Lopiano, winds up, shot, and deflects off up into the netting. Sorry, reading some of the comments from the parents. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth, but yes, Cullen has had an interesting game so far. So Cullen has gotten two goals. He's gotten 3 penalties, and played an outstanding game so far. I would say him and Lopiano, 2 of the stars of the game so far. Good Fairfield moving the puck around well. Malefus with a shot that's saved, swatted at and over to the corner. And that's what New Hampshire's going to try to put number 26 deep out into the net. Oh, and Malefus didn't see the puck that was left for him. Number 26 on New Hampshire's got some speed and draws the penalty. So that's just about going to erase the last bit of Mid-Fairfield's penalty here. There's 1:52 left in the major penalty. So we'll skate 4 aside for the next 1:52, and then New Hampshire will have an 8-second power play. Fairfield with a win. Roberts up with it, skates it across, decides to leave it over for Johnston. Over to Coccaro. Coccaro surveys. The Mid-Fairfield dumps it in. Coccaro races into the corner, battling for possession. Johnston able to throw it out. And Figurino's got to lose the zone but gain the puck. Figurino still with the puck, leaves it for Johnson, who's hauled down. Coccaro dumps it back into the corner. New Hampshire back up with it, throws it a long way. Shot that just didn't deflect off anything, but just went high up into the netting. So Lopiano out there with Hurl, O'Neill, and Pan. O'Neill picks up the puck, throws it over to Hurl. Back over to Pan, who gains the zone. Pan races in, shot, save off the shoulder of the New Hampshire goalkeeper. And sticked into the Mid-Fairfield zone. Hurl up with it, throws it over to O'Neill and over to Pan. And here comes Lopiano. Lopiano hits the brakes, goes off into the corner. O'Neill and Lopiano trading passes. Finally, it's dumped into the corner. And Pan up with a puck, fires it over to LeConte and dumped into the New Hampshire zone. Goalkeeper leaves it for his defenseman. And both penalties have expired. Shot, pad save by Feach. Coccaro Leaves it for Ware. It's turned over, saved by Faitch with a glove. So 124 left, mid-Fairfield just trying to get out of here in one piece. Vartanian at center. Win by mid-Fairfield. Shunk gets it over to Caccaro, avoids the hit. LeConte now up with it. LeConte across center ice, gains the zone. Goes behind the goalkeeper and takes a shot, off-angled shot that the goalkeeper is able to stop. 1:11 left in the game. LeConte with the win, takes a shot on net, but I believe the goalpost came off. So they're going to stop play, 1:08. You hear the Zamboni fired up in the corner, so he knows it's about ready to go. LeConte still battling for possession with New Hampshire. The puck skips out. Shunk able to slide it over to Caccaro. Here comes Vartanian across center ice. Vartanian across the blue line into the slot. He slides it behind the net. Shunk dumps it back into the corner. LeConte back up with it, down to his knees, throws it over to Caccaro. Over to Shunk. Shunk shot, pad save, and LeConte there with the rebound. So Shunk with a big shot on net, and LeConte is able to drive it in. So 25.9 seconds left. So Figurino, Johnston, and Pan are out there. Win by mid-Fairfield. Boudry up with it over to DeRoberts. He gets it to Figurino, cross ice to Johnston. Johnston in the slot. Another off-angled shot that whistles around the boards. Boudry throws it over to DeRoberts. And that's it, folks. So we will see you tomorrow where mid-Fairfield will face off against Vermont. So have a good night and take care.
9-1?
Yeah.